Support Saturday, Garcia x Dozla. It's interesting that I got recommended another Dozla support, but honestly, who can blame my taste having comment section? Dozla supports always deliver. And this time he's joined by a man that's as swole as him, Garcia, as they go on a wacky side quest together to get stronger. This support comes recommended by Julius, so thank you for letting me witness a great support, which I'm going to put you all on. Their C support starts off with simple introductions, and honestly this conversation reminds me of how dads would normally talk. The most mundane thing that somehow sounds interesting if you write it down on paper. With quick introductions to one another, they quickly move on to talk about meals of the day, with Garcia explaining about the importance of breakfast because it's the first meal of the day after a quote mini fast. Dozla, clearly intrigued by this conversation, entertains Garcia further by asking him more questions, which leads to him answering, "The only thing I consumed this morning was knowledge." That statement leads Garcia and Dozla to then move on to their final topic of this support conversation, in the fact that as fighters they need to get better and stronger in other fields, and how the quote art of complete training is lost on the younger generation, which Dozla wholeheartedly agrees, and they set a date in which they start to explore what other fighting styles there might be out there for them. This leads to their antics in the B support, where it's them talking about their training in post. They're clearly giving each other light jabs about how Dozla swung his bow like an axe, or how Garcia loaded the arrow on his bow in the wrong direction like he's shooting the wrong way. Wait, has Garcia never seen an archer before? This was all clearly in jest, as they're both laughing, having a good time about it, and they start to talk about how difficult it was to learn to wield an axe at first too. They talk about their origins and how they decided learning to fight with an axe was the way to go, and they suggest doing this another time. Not archery though, as they clearly establish this might not be the profession for them. And so the B support conversation ends with them agreeing to explore magic. Wait, Dozla, Garcia, what the fuck? The A support sees them again in post-training, realizing that magic is also just as difficult as their archery practice. It starts off by explaining how Garcia has a bump on his head because Dozla was trying to conjure, and how the healing that Dozla tried to do afterwards burned off Garcia's facial hair right off. He's clearly a little mad about the situation, you know how we men get about our facial hair, but there had to be some level of success in their magic because Dozla was able to grow Garcia's hair back. It's a fascinating support conversation because they clearly did make progress, just probably not in the way that they hoped they would, and they end this support conversation with them eagerly looking forward to getting good at sword fighting. These supports are great because it's clearly just two bros going out and trying things together and creating memories. Whether they succeed or not is not the point. Them talking about it afterwards, laughing about it, is the point of these support conversations. They're on the older side of the cast of characters, so it's kind of wholesome to see an awesome friendship blossom out because of their funny antics. And so now that I've been enlightened with this support conversation, whenever an FE8 remake comes out with reclasses, I cannot wait to make Dozla a mage. He clearly got talent for it. If you want me to take a look at your support conversations, good, bad, or funny, leave them down in the comments or by joining my Discord.